inscribed into our futures. The IPCC report was a clarion call in an age of profound emergency, a rallying cry for action soon to be amplified by campaigners around the world, from striking schoolchildren to Green New Dealers. The hour is late. The crisis is more severe than is generally realized. Warming is the result of the cumulative stock of emissions in the atmosphere. This has led the IPCC to set a budget for the remaining emissions the world can afford to release if we are to have a fighting chance of avoiding temperature rises above 1.5 degrees Celsius. This budget, which underpins the 12 years left story, is small. Smaller, for example, than the greenhouse gases set to be emitted by existing fossil fuel-dependent infrastructure, from cars to power plants, if they are used to the end of their productive life. Yet more emissions are on the way. When adding the contribution of fossil-fueled power plants that are currently planned, licensed or under construction, let alone projected increases in car production, long-haul flights and carbon-intensive Western diets, emissions are set to far exceed that budget. It is estimated that Canada alone, where just 0.5% of the world's population lives, could use nearly a third of the remaining global budget if it exploits all of Alberta's known tar sands reserves. The result? The world is currently on track for increases in average global temperature of between 2.3 degrees Celsius and 4.1 degrees Celsius by 2100, leading to globally catastrophic conditions in which, according to a research paper from J.P. Morgan Chase, the world's foremost funder of fossil fuels, human life as we know it is threatened. Moreover, the proposed budget could itself be overgenerous. The IPCC's models assume the large-scale deployment in coming decades of negative emissions technologies which would suck greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere, reducing their capacity to cause harm. But there is no silver bullet of this sort. Technologies are currently too expensive, likely running into the hundreds of trillions of dollars, as yet untested or not even invented, or potentially devastating to ecosystems and societies. Dangerously unregulated geoengineering proposals, such as spraying reflective aerosols into the stratosphere, now litter the dreams of tech utopians. In other words, we are hurtling towards an unmanageable destabilization of the climate system. Critically, however, the climate crisis is only one, if crucial, element of the wider systemic challenge. The total impact of human activity over many centuries has damaged the great natural cycles that underpin life on Earth to the point of breakdown. Soils are depleted, species are lost, water dries up. The cascading disintegration of the natural world will increasingly push societies to the brink of collapse. Environmental breakdown is not only about emaciated polar bears and plastic in the sea, it is about famine, drought, and disease, and how their higher incidence could destabilize individual nations and entire regions, leading to social strife and war. This is about power. Awareness of environmental breakdown is growing, even among mainstream voices and institutions. Environmental charities and corporate social responsibility first movers are now joined by central bank governors, celebrities, and media organizations, all claiming to understand the crisis we face and to be taking proportionate action. Technologists marvel at the falling prices of renewable energy. Governments commit to the successive phase-out of greenhouse gases, the banning of single-use plastics, and the investment of billions of dollars into the development of electric cars. Yet overall, such efforts have thus far proved inadequate. In the face of this failure comes all manner of hand-wringing, seeking to explain the absence of meaningful change. Often, the voices and institutions that make up the status quo fail to grasp or willfully ignore the central insight needed to understand how environmental breakdown has come about and what to do next. This is about power. It is about the power of extractive and exploitative economic structures, legal institutions, market arrangements, trade agreements, and policy agendas, and the unequal dynamics they promote. It is about the central features of contemporary capitalism, the for-profit corporation, concentrated ownership, and overmighty finance that act as great engines of expansion and extraction. It is about the power of those states, companies, and individuals that benefit from these arrangements, happy to see the world burn for the sake of maximizing profit, maintaining the grotesque fiction that indefinite material growth is both possible and desirable. This power is exercised with brutal impunity.